So it's the early 90s. Your computer monitor is the size of a microwave, your mouse has a tail, and you've just booted up a game where the main quest isn't to slay a dragon or solve a murder. It's to recycle, or clean up an oil spill, or help a talking dolphin find his way back home. This is Sierra's EcoQuest, a game that asks kids not just to save the princess, but to save the planet. And what's weird is, it actually worked. I'm Lindsay, and this is the Point & Quest podcast, the show where we unravel the history, the hilarity, and the heartbreak of point-and-click adventures. Today, we're diving, literally, into a game series that was part marine biology lesson, part environmentalist fever dream, and somehow still kind of magical. To understand EcoQuest, you have to understand the weird little ecosystem that birthed it. And I don't just mean Illyria, the underwater city in the search for Cetus. I mean Sierra Online. Sierra in the early 90s was like the Pixar of computer games. They were cranking out hit after hit. King's Quest, Space Quest, Police Quest. If it had Quest in the title, chances are Sierra made it. These games were witty, sprawling, and occasionally impossible. Like, I hope you saved your game 5 seconds ago because you just sneezed on the wrong pixel and died. Kind of impossible. But Sierra also had a softer side, a more educational side. Between Mixed Up Mother Goose, Dr. Brain, and Castle of Dr. Brain, they were dipping a toe into what we now call edutainment. Games that teach and entertain, supposedly. Enter EcoQuest. The first game, The Search for Cetus, was released in 1991. It was designed by Gano Hain, one of the amazing women leading projects at Sierra at the time. Hain wasn't just a game designer. She was also a mom, a writer, and an environmentalist. And EcoQuest was a passion project, a way to combine storytelling, education, and some gentle ecological guilt tripping. The idea was simple. Make a game that teaches kids to care, not in the cheesy after-school special kind of way, but by putting them inside a story, a world, one that was beautiful and alive and worth saving. They brought in real scientists to help make sure the marine biology and rainforest facts were accurate. And they created a main character, Adam Greene, who wasn't a wizard or a cop or a space janitor, but just a kid. A kind, curious, incredibly well-behaved kid. EcoQuest was also part of Sierra's attempt to push back against the idea that computer games were only about violence or mindless fun. These were games with values, with consequences, and depending on how you played, with some pretty powerful lessons. But the most surprising part? They actually kind of slapped. EcoQuest, The Search for Cetus, starts with a kid named Adam Greene. He's not exactly your average point-and-click protagonist. No wisecracks, no sword, just a wetsuit and a willingness to listen to authority figures. Adam is the son of a marine biologist, Dr. Jonah Greene. Yes, like the biblical story. They're on a research expedition in a tropical cove, studying marine life. And because this is a Sierra game, it doesn't take long before Adam finds himself in over his head, literally. He meets a dolphin, a talking dolphin, named Delphinius. Delphinius is, how do I put this? The flounder to Adam's Ariel. Nervous, loyal, speaks perfect English. Delphinius leads Adam to Illyria, an underwater city populated by sentient sea creatures. Think The Little Mermaid, but with a lot more waste disposal problems. Turns out, Illyria is in trouble. Pollution is everywhere, fish are sick, seaweed is dying, and worst of all, Cetus, the giant sperm whale and guardian of the city, has vanished. The game unfolds like an aquatic detective story for kids. Adam learns about underwater ecosystems, sorts trash, collects sea urchins, helps fish recover from oil exposure, and eventually finds Cetus. The climax? You confront this villainous manta ray named Flesh Eater, who has Cetus trapped. Yes, it is as dramatic as it sounds. You free the whale from the harpoon lodged in his side, and things start to heal. Everyone celebrates, and honestly, it's sweet. A little cheesy, but sweet. There are puzzles, sure, but they're less combine rubber chicken with pulley and more use algae to clean coral reef. You don't die, you don't hit dead ends, and unlike other Sierra titles, the game encourages experimentation. It rewards kindness, curiosity, and basic environmental stewardship. Honestly, it's refreshing. 2 years later, in 1993, Sierra released a sequel, EcoQuest 2, Lost Secret of the Rainforest. This time, Adam's headed to South America with his dad, now working on rainforest conservation. And if the first game was about ocean pollution, this one is about everything else. Deforestation, endangered species, illegal logging, cultural erasure. The rainforest is under threat from poachers, developers, and the general indifference of capitalism. This time, the tone is a little more mature. Still kid-friendly, but with an edge. You meet indigenous people whose land is being bulldozed. You see animals trapped, injured, vanishing, and the solutions aren't just recycle more. They're deeper, systemic, political. Adam helps document ecology with his trusty e-quarter to scan plants and animals. Think a rainforest Pokédex, and learns their names, properties, and whether they're endangered. It's cool and kind of ahead of its time. The puzzles are based on real ecology, what lives where, what needs what, and how everything is connected. And, because this is still Sierra, you also get magical realism. Animal spirits, ancient secrets, lost temples. It walks a very interesting line between Encyclopedia Britannica and Indiana Jones, but for 10-year-olds. One of the things that make EcoQuest stand out, even now, is how its puzzles aren't just there to be clever. They're there to teach. They're puzzles with a purpose. You don't stab the villain, you recycle his garbage. You don't escape a monster, you nurse a baby turtle back to health. Even the inventory system reflects this. You often carry around cleaning tools, field guides, even reusable items. It's a little preachy, sure, but there's a sincerity to it. The game believes wholeheartedly that kids can understand these problems, and that it matters if they do. And more importantly, it believes they might actually want to help. A significant subplot in EcoQuest 2 is when Adam encounters Paquita, an insectivorous bat whose home, the ancient tree known as Forest Heart, has been destroyed by Slaughter's actions. Paquita becomes Adam's companion and conscience, in a way, guiding him through the rainforest and highlighting the interconnectedness of all living beings. Eventually, Adam uncovers the operations of the nefarious businessman, Slaughter, who epitomizes corporate greed and environmental disregard. Slaughter's activities include illegal logging, wildlife trafficking, and cultural insensitivity toward indigenous communities. Adam's mission involves exposing Slaughter's deeds, rescuing captured animals, and halting the destruction caused by his enterprise. Beyond their narratives, the EcoQuest games are notable for their innovative mechanics and educational aspirations. Unlike many adventure games of their era, were designed to be non-violent and unwinnable states were eliminated, allowing players to explore and learn without the fear of failure. The point-and-click interface is intuitive, making it accessible to younger audiences even still. Puzzles are integrated seamlessly into the storyline, often requiring players to apply ecological knowledge to progress. For instance, understanding the symbiotic relationships in marine life, or recognizing the importance of biodiversity in the rainforest, becomes a key to solving in-game challenges. Educational content is woven throughout the gameplay. Interacting with various elements often provides players with factual information about species, environmental issues, conservation efforts, indigenous sovereignty. This approach transforms the gaming experience into an interactive learning journey, fostering awareness and empathy for environmental and human causes. The thing that hits me, replaying these now, is how earnest these games are. These games care. They care about the ocean, about the rainforest, about showing kids that they can help. And they do it through kindness, through healing. The puzzles aren't hard, but they're meaningful. You don't collect gems, you collect garbage. You help. That's the point. And maybe the most radical thing, they trusted kids with these big ideas. Pollution, habitat loss, indigenous sovereignty. These weren't just fun facts. They were the heart of the stories. There aren't a lot of games like EcoQuest anymore. Maybe because we moved past edutainment. Or maybe because it's hard to make saving the planet fun. But I think about those games. About Adam Greene, who wasn't the chosen one or a secret prince. He was just kind, curious, and willing to listen. And that was enough to help him save the ocean and the rainforest. So, what happens to a game like EcoQuest? Like, where does it go? What's its legacy, if there even is one? The truth is, a lot of people haven't played it since elementary school, or ever. It never got a third game. It didn't spawn a franchise. It just kind of faded. And yet I think about it all the time. I think about the kids, now adults, who played it, and what impact it had. I think about why it mattered. And I think part of it is that EcoQuest came out at this weirdly hopeful moment in time. Like, Earth Day was having a comeback. We were learning about the ozone layer and acid rain and dolphins and tuna nets. And instead of feeling completely doomed like people do now, it kind of felt like we could fix it. And Sierra took that energy and said, let's make a game for kids that doesn't talk down to them. Let's give them a protagonist who isn't magical or muscular, just kind, smart, and willing to listen. And that was radical. I don't know. Maybe it's nostalgia. Maybe I'm just a sucker for talking dolphins and glowing jungle animals. But sometimes, when the world feels like too much, like the problems are too big or too abstract, I think about Adam Greene. I think about this little pixel kid with his e-quarter and his backpack helping sea turtles and planting trees. Not to save himself, but because it was the right thing to do. And that's the kind of hero I want to root for. That's it for today's episode of the Point and Quest podcast. If you liked it, send it to that one friend who remembers playing EcoQuest in the back of the school computer lab, surrounded by Oregon Trail and Clara's works. Until then, be kind, be curious, and maybe, just maybe, pick up a little trash on your next walk.